Hello and welcome to the Chibitronics channel. This is Sarah from Sarah's Stamping Retreat, and today we're going to be creating a 3D box card with a fun reed switch light up mechanism. And I think that these reed switches really add a bit of magic to a card. So I'm going to make a kids card because I think that if you made this for your children or grandchildren, nieces, nephews, whatever, they are going to be really wowed by this. So we're going to make a space pop-up box card. So I'm going to start with a piece of 6" by 11.5" navy cardstock, and I'm going to score at 2 3/4 inches, at 5.5 inches, at 8 1/4 inches, and at 11 inches. Then I'm going to turn it round and I'm going to score at 3 inches through the first score line up to the second line, and then I'm going to turn it round and I'm going to score again at 3 inches through this first little flap and up to the second score line. So this piece here is going to have no score line through the middle of it, and that is going to be the back of our box. So then I'm going to cut where we need to cut. So this piece here, you want to cut a little bit off the bottom, just a little triangle. Then you're going to cut a triangle into that middle score line, and then you're going to cut off the top part, just down that score line. You could obviously do this with a paper trimmer if you find that easier. And then I'm going to cut down all of these score lines just down to where it meets that middle score line. So you can see I've cut down here until it reaches this bit. I'm going to do that on all the other pieces as well. So then I can fold along all of those score lines. So then our box is going to be like that. So I'm going to want these stars on this planet to light up. This planet is from a Space Ephemera pack from Sticker Kitten, as is the rest of the ephemera we're going to use today. And we're going to use this celestial stamp set from Sticker Kitten as well. And we're also going to be using the Sticker Kitten celestial papers. So I want these stars to light up. So what I'm going to just do is just grab a self-healing cutting mat, and I'm going to use my hole punch just to punch a hole into each of those stars. And it's kind of taking over the two smaller stars, but that's fine. Just want that to be where the light comes through. So then I want to try and cram my circuit onto a piece of cardstock that can go behind here. So I'm going to grab a pencil, I'm going to draw around here. I'm also just going to trace through those holes where we want the lights to be. So then I'm going to cut this out just inside the lines. So then I'm going to add this towards the top of the back panel of our navy cardstock. And this piece of the pattern paper from that pack that I showed you is going to go over here. So I'm going to trace down here and down the other side. So then I know that my circuit needs to be either in between these lines, because that will get covered with this, or it can also go on these white bits because that will get covered by that. And actually while I'm here, I'm just going to draw a little hole on there and a little hole here, because I'll also need to punch those out of here. So then I can build my circuit. I'm going to put my battery here, and I'm going to make sure that where we've got a bit of space up here, I'm going to leave a gap in the circuit for my reed switch to go into. So then I want to add on where I'm going to put my light. So I'm going to use this stencil which has a shape in it for my lights. So I'm going to put that over the circle that I've drawn in for my lights, and I'm just going to trace over that, and that will let me know where to put my tape. Then I'm going to do the same here, and you'll notice that I'm facing it the same way, so the point is going out both times. and then I'm going to do the same here, and I'm just making sure on this one that I'm fitting the stencil piece onto the white. So as I've started putting this together, I've just noticed that I made a bit of a rookie error with the placement of the switch. So we're not going to have it there, we're going to have it here. And that is because the switch needs to be between the battery and the lights, and I'm not going to go up and out, I'm actually going to go round in a circle, so that's why it actually needs to be here. So the negative part of the battery is at the bottom, so I'm going to lay this across the bottom of the battery, and you can see that the negative part of the light is the pointy bit that's written on each of the lights, so you can always remember that easily. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this up to the edge of this line, I'm going to cut it so there's space for my reed switch to go in, then I'm going to start the other side of the line, I'm going to go round across the pointy edge, which we know is the negative side of the light, then I'm just going to join that up here, and then across this top bit the paper's going to be on top, so I can just go across like that, because I want to make sure that there's definitely room for my positive side to go across without crossing this line. And then I'm just going to go in down here, cross that point, and then cut it off. So then I can add my battery onto here. I'm going to add some pieces of foam tape around the edge to kind of hold that in place. And then I'm just going to cut a piece of cardstock to fit across the top of that. I'm going to run my tape along one side, over the top, and back down the other side of this. And then I'm going to use the other side of this foam tape just to hold that in place. So then I want this to come down here. I want to make sure that this isn't going to hit the negative tape. I want to make sure it goes across the flat side of each of those lights. And again, I'm going to cut that off here. So then we're going to add on my switch. So that wants to fit across here, and then I'm going to use some of these fabric tape strips just to attach it to that circuit. These are basically just pieces of this tape, so you could use pieces of tape, but the fabric patches are really useful. You get 2 of these sheets in a pack. And then we can start putting on our yellow stickers. So we're going to add this on here. So then you need a magnet to activate the reed switch. So then we can test this out by putting a magnet on here and making sure that all our lights light up. So you can see that these 2 do and this one doesn't. So I can just wiggle this about a bit to make sure that it gets properly connected. And I'm going to pop some fabric patches over either side of this. And you can see that that helps then, it's kind of helping it stay down. Because we do have quite a lot of pieces here where I've got folds and things in the tape. So this just helps make sure that it's properly adhered down. So you can see that's all nicely lit up, so we can take that off now. So then I'm going to use some foam strips to add on this piece of pattern paper. We want to make sure our magnet isn't on there, and then we're going to line this up on here. And then you can see that if we add this onto there, then it lights up those lights. So then we're going to add on our planet over there. You can see that that's still lighting those up. So then we want to decorate the rest of the box. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this over, and then I've got 3 of these panels that measure 2.5 by 2 3/4 inches that I'm going to glue to these flaps. So then I'm just going to add some red liner tape down our flap here, and then I'm going to take off the backing I'm going to fold over this side, and then we have our pop-up box. So then that folds down like that, or it pops up like that. So it goes in the envelope like that, and it pops up like that. So then I'm going to use 2 of the stamps from that Celestial stamp set. I'm going to use the You're Out of This World, and I'm going to use Happy Birthday. And I'm going to heat emboss those. So I'm using my Versamark embossing ink just to stamp that. And I'm going to heat emboss those with white embossing powder. And then I'm just going to cut around them. So then you want to decide what's going to be the thing that activates your lights. And for me, I want it to be this rocket here. So I've added that on there, and then I'm going to add a glue dot onto it. And then I'm going to add on my rocket. So I've got that on there, and then when I pop that on there, it's going to go on, and then when I take it off, it's going to go off. So then I want to add this to this earth when it's not being used. So I've added another glue dot onto here, and I'm just using that to make sure that that goes in the right place, and then I can add my earth onto here. So I'll pop that up on a few foam pads. Then I'm going to add that on there. So my rocket can go on there when it's kind of on Earth, and it can add to there and light up the planet when it goes there. So then I want to add some more pieces across here so that we can add some more things to our box card. So then I've got 2 pieces of cardstock that are 3 3/4 by 1/2 inch, and I'm just going to score each of them 1/2 inch from either end. So then I'm going to fold back the ends. I'm going to add on some double-sided tape. And then I'm going to pop them into here. So I'm going to pop each one in just a bit gently like that, so it's not properly stuck on both sides. I stick one end down, and then I'm going to flatten it to make sure that the other end sticks in the right place so that it can fold flat nicely. And then I'll do the same with this one. So then I've got some strips of acetate, and this doesn't necessarily need to be acetate that you've bought. You can use old food packaging, anything like that. At this time of year, probably packaging from kids' toys at Christmas or something like that you've got around. And then I want to put this in like this, but I want to be able to see it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a piece of acetate behind that, and then I'm also going to add the acetate behind the strip that I popped into the box as well. So I'll use this clearer tape for this because it's going to be a bit more visible. So let's pop that in there. And then I'm going to add a few things on just pieces of acetate as well. So I want this Happy Birthday to stand up above here. So I'm going to add this bit of acetate on a glue dot behind there. And then I'm going to add another glue dot to the little strip that goes across in the card. And then I'm going to work out where I want it. So I want it about there. And then I might just add this comet on as well, I think. I'm going to do that in the same way. So I'm just adding that behind this piece here. And then I'm just going to add those other couple of stars on here as well. So then we've got our fun project, and then when we move the rocket up here, then that lights up. Let me turn off some of my lights so you can get the full effect of that. So I think that's a really fun card. So I really hope that you enjoyed today's tutorial and that you too have discovered the magic of reed lights. I just really think that that action of putting something on to light it up makes it feel really magical. If you enjoyed today's video, I'd really appreciate you clicking like below, and you can also press subscribe if you'd like to see future videos. If you press the bell button and select all, then YouTube will also notify you when I've got a new video available. All of the products that I've used for today's card are listed in the description below. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to see you again soon.